Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. This is the PGA US Open edition. And of course, I have the best guy on the planet for PGA sports betting in David Bearman from ESPN. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm bringing him on, and he has a tremendous story that I want him to share with you about the 2008 Torrey Pines US Open. So welcome to the show, David. Thank you for your time and being on.
John, thanks for having me. If I ever have problems with my own ego, I make sure to just listen to what you say about me. So, appreciate the kind words. 2008, over working at ESPN, I've worked 10 men's majors and 20 total majors, including the seniors and the ladies, all across the world. And the very, very first one I worked was 2008 Torrey Pines, which obviously is going to stand the test of time. Tiger versus Rocco, one of the greatest sporting events ever. One of the greatest U.S. Opens ever, and it was my first ever event. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was a rookie. I was there as a second researcher to help out the main researcher at the event, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And it ultimately, you go years and years later, seeing Tom Watson almost win at Turnberry, watching Phil Mickelson win at Augusta, and others that I've seen over time. It's still tough to top what Tiger did on a broken leg and a torn ACL at Torrey Pines here in 2008. I walked the course over the weekend, and especially on Monday during the playoff when most of the fans weren't there because they weren't expecting it. I actually saw Tiger tee off on one on Sunday for the final round, and I was up parallel from the tee box. And the way he grimaced when he swung and went down and using you know the image by now, using the club as a crutch. I looked at the guy next to me. There's no shot Tiger wins this event. You're lucky if you can get to the second hole. And I still think if you look at all of the memorable things that athletes have done over time, Tiger winning one of the toughest U.S. Opens of all time leg is something that is incredible to actually think about. What, now 13 years later, and just to know that I got a chance to be there and witness it and walk the course on Monday, and see that and be in the compound in the trailer when he sunk the putt on 18 and the reaction that happened in there. And I was lucky enough to be watching it on the raw feed inside, not the live broadcast feed. So me and my colleague had actually seen the putt go in, and we went
Oh,
bananas.
wow.
You have Chris Bearman, Tom Rinaldi, Mike Tirico, Scott Van Pelt, all sitting in the talent green room. All guys which I got to know over time but didn't know them yet. And you have Chris Bearman go, don't tell me, don't, holy. And fit in the words right there. And to have those guys lose their mind and go bananas over, Dan Hicks's call. Did you expect anything
Yep.
else? It's one of the greatest events in the history of sports. And one of the greatest performances by an athlete in Tiger Woods. And I was just honored to be able to start my golf career at that very event 13 years ago. And, in honor of that, I hung the flag this morning, and I have plenty of others around the cave, but I hung that this morning in honor of Torrey Pines 2008.
Oh, that's an awesome story. What a way to start a career. I mean, we couldn't have been better.
No, it was a great, great event, and we're back this week, and the course is probably going to play even harder. And for those that don't remember, there weren't many guys under par that week. The winning score was -1, so we'll see what happens this week.
Well, I hear the course conditions are pretty rough, as you just said. The Kikuya rough is going to be really nasty. It turns the club face. It even makes it difficult for these pros who are the best in the world to even advance the ball, let alone try to put it on the green. So I don't think it's going to be an big advantage with the big hitters. But obviously, John Rahm has an infatuation with this course. There's no golfer even close to him in terms of his recent stats and his recent performances here. And, he's using a lineless putter that he attributes to his dramatic success recently. I'm not even sure what that is.
No, and Rahm you look at trying to handicap these events week in and week out, and Rahm is one of those guys that you're thinking, how do you not take him at 9 or 10 to 1 with the stats he has out there? But if you look deeper, the guy has no wins this year. He's never won a major. So on one hand, you're like, all right, John Rahm, look how well he played before he had a withdrawal, unfortunately, because of COVID. Great third round at Jack's course, played it awesome. His 2 wins last year were on Jack's course and the BMW Championship, 2 tight courses. got his first win at Torrey Pines. He got his first win of his career at Torrey Pines in 2017. Follows it up with a T5, a T7. His 23 under par on the South course alone, which is where the entire event will be played, is best of anyone in the field and best of anyone since 2016. First in scoring average, second in shots gained total, tee to green, on and on and on. The guy has the metrics. The guy has the game. And you're like, well, why wouldn't I take him? Well, he also hasn't won a major, and he also hasn't won this year. He does lead the tour with 10 top 10, so he's as consistent as anybody on tour. I'm actually going to play him. I normally don't play the favorites. I don't think there's a lot of value in taking a guy at 10 to 15 to 1 when there's 156 guys in the field and there's so many different variables. I usually like to go 20, 25, 30 to 1 range, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I do like Jon Rahm, and I think getting him at even money, if not plus money, for a top 10 finish, so the guy does. He's a top 10 machine, and I think that can be a little bit of a soft hedge on your 10 to 1 bet, because obviously if he wins, you win both of them. But if he doesn't win the event but finishes in the top 10, which I expect him to do, you at least win a little bit money there. It's right there for Rahm. And not only that, but he has the spotlight because of what happened to him 2 weeks ago. Does he have an axe to grind? Is he going to focus? The knock on Rahm has always been his temperament. And could he overcome getting angry and screwing up a hole, yada, yada, yada. Slow starts, which you've seen. Jon Rahm is the typical barely make the cut and then fire away a 64 on Sunday to finish T5. He can't do that at Torrey Pines. So I like his game. I like where he is. And in my respects, I'm not a sports psychologist. What happened to him 2 weeks ago, as unfortunate as it is, I'm playing maybe it made him focus a little bit. Say, hey, you know what? That's unfortunate. I've had many disappointments in my life, but having to withdraw from an event with a 6-shot lead, got to rank up there at the top. Let's refocus, re-energize. Playing as good as anybody. He's a guy who could absolutely win on Sunday, and it's somebody that I'm going to be playing at of all the favorites. You look at everybody at under 20 to 1. We've talked about this before, John. You can say something is wrong with every single one of them. Jordan Spieth we'll get into later. Can't get it off the tee, and that's not where you want to be here. DJ hasn't played well in months if you take out his T10 last week in an awful field at the Palmetto. Brooks Koepka, injury. Bryson's a bomber. Misses fairways, not the place to miss fairways. You can literally pick apart almost every single one of the favorites. Rory McIlroy, inconsistent. Jon Rahm's the
Yeah, your video froze, but you're okay now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, sorry about that. Distance off the tee is not the requirement here. As you can see behind me, that's a pretty intimidating looking shot that requires immense accuracy. And I know you have at least 4 other guys that we talked about before we went on the air. And why don't we just take them in order? And I like this first one quite a bit. In fact, I've been following him the last month. And I could easily see this guy getting, hoisting the trophy at the end, and that's Patrick Reed.
Yeah, I love Patrick Reed. I take him often in majors. I'm a big fan of his game, the way his iron play is, his work around the green, and quite frankly, nobody is better around the greens and on the greens lately than Patrick Reed. He won this event running away in January at this course, winning by 5 shots and almost a wire-to-wire win. Tied for 6th the year before, T13, T23 before that. A lot of success here at Torrey Pines. 20 total rounds, 19 of them at par or better. And if you look at the metrics on just the South course, which as we mentioned before, is where all 4 rounds will be played. He's 1st in short game, 3rd total, 4th in greens and reg and putting, and 10th in tee to green. That's what you want. You want a guy that's good tee to green, good putting, good approach, and good short games. Patrick Reed has all of that. He's a big event type guy. Look, he's won the Masters before, finished T8 at this Masters a few months ago. T6 at Wells Fargo, 17th at the PGA, and 5th at Jack's course at the Memorial. So the guy shows up at big events. You're getting 25 to 1 on him. He's just like that second tier below all the guys we just talked about. Wins, plays very well at Torrey Pines, can play the rough well. And if you look at his overall game, here's a guy that I expect to be a contender. Nothing really bothers him. He doesn't get rattled. He knows nobody likes him. He uses that to fire himself up. And here's the guy that I really like. And of all the guys we're going to discuss, he's the one that I like the best this week. I'm going to be playing him in my pools, my DFS, playing him in the column you'll see tomorrow. And I'm basically saying it's, Patty Reed, to me, I think is going to get his 2nd career major win.
Well, I'll tell you guys, for anybody that's watching these shows for the first time, David has won. He's been on this show 12 times. 10 of them have been highly profitable, just tailing his two win bets, top 10, top 20, and of course the DFS. And he's made me money. So, that's what's so great. And that's why I'm always smiling when he comes on, because I know it's going to be another great opportunity this weekend. Another guy that almost seems like flying under the radar, even though the guy is incredibly good. Like Patrick Reed is kind of like a second tier guy, which I can't really get my hands around, but it gives us a great value, is Xander Schauffele.
I mean, the guy missed the cut at the PGA, so therefore he's persona non grata to everybody. I mean, he has 7 top 6 finishes in 16 majors. The missed cut at the PGA ended a long streak of made cuts at majors. Just look at the U.S. Opens. A lot of these guys that do well at majors, the worst one is usually the U.S. Open. You know, the Masters is the same course every single year. The Open Championship is wide open. The PGA is usually not as hard as the U.S. Open. So some of the best players in the world, if you look at their major success, the U.S. Open, pick Phil Mickelson. Mickelson's won everywhere else but at the U.S. Open. But look at Xander Schauffele. Played in 4 U.S. Opens. They're the toughest courses, usually set up by the USGA to kill these guys. Tight, thick rough, tough greens, scores usually just around par. 4 U.S. Opens. T5, T6, T3, 5. Sign me up. There's a guy who does well.
Yeah.
His worst score at a U.S. Open is T6. By the way, he's from San Diego. He's very familiar with this course. And he was the runner-up in January. So it's going to come as no surprise that January's Farmers Insurance Open, Patty Reed 1, Xander Schauffele 2, and I'm playing on both these guys. Yes, the course will be set up tougher this week than it was in January. These guys have played well at this course, no matter what the situation is. And if you look at the metrics, 3rd in total shots gained, 8th in putting, 18th tee to green, 22nd on approach, 11th in hitting greens, all metrics we know are important. You got to hit the fairways. If you don't, you got to be able to get out of the green and scramble, tee to green, approach. It's all Xander. Now, what do you do about a guy who has not had his first major win, and there's a reason why it's all top 5s and not wins? You play him at top 5s and top 10s to make some money. You can get $3.50 on a top 5. That's what he's done in 3 of his 4 U.S. Opens and in many of his majors, top 5s. You're getting 3.5 to 1 on that. Top 10, somewhere around the $1.50 to $2. I'm going to be playing those, and again, if he wins, you win all 3 of them. But if he doesn't win, which, call it what it is, that's Xander Schauffele's weakness right now is finishing the deal. He hasn't won in over 4 years. Not as long as Tony Finau, but the drought is there, so some people would question whether he has that temperament to get it done. You saw what happened at Augusta, where he threw it in the drink on the 16th hole that cost him a chance at winning the Masters. Top 5s and top 10s are out there, and I'm going to be playing him as well. So,
Well, those are the kind of shots, too, that these guys learn from. I always remember Rory McIlroy shooting that 80 at the Masters, and then when he won the U.S. Open in dramatic fashion, they, of course, asked him, what's it like?
I can tell you, John, I was standing on the 10th tee box when Rory threw his drive into the houses at Augusta. Had the Masters in his grasp, went out there, 10th tee shot, threw it OB, double bogey, and went on to shoot an 80. On the plane ride back from Augusta, I was filling out my pool for the second leg of a pool I'm in, and the first thing I wrote was U.S. Open, Rory McIlroy. Gonna learn from what he just did, and he went out and won Congressional by 1.5 million strokes. Learn your lessons from before. Maybe Xander does that. Believe it or not, and this was a stat that blew me away, that triple bogey that Xander had late at the 4th round of Augusta was his first triple bogey in any major championship that he's been in.
Wow.
That's 16 majors. Now, I don't remember what he did at the PGA, but up through 16 majors, he had 1 triple bogey. That tells you that this guy doesn't make mistakes, and that's how you have 7 top 6 finishes in 16 career majors.
That is an amazing stat, because off the top of my head, that would be roughly more than 1,000 golf holes, 16 majors, 4 rounds, assuming he made the cut in all of them. That's incredible.
And that was his first triple bogey. It just goes to show you that when it comes to these big events, he's careful. He doesn't make mistakes. Jordan Spieth's make many of them. Nobody's going to be hotter than Jordan when he makes 4 straight birdies from all over the place, but also spreading the ball all over the place and getting triple bogeys. Jordan's just as likely to get 3 straight birdies is to throw up a crooked number on the next hole.
Well, speaking of Spieth, let's talk about him, because he's not in the state of Texas anymore, and this course is far different than what you find golf courses to be in Texas. So what do you think his prospects are for this event?
I'm actually taking Jordan Spieth to miss the cut. I found it at plus 310 this morning. He's anywhere from $250 to $3. And I like the guy. He's one of the best golfers on the planet. That's why he has as many majors as he had. But let's look at this a little bit, at this course and at the U.S. Open in general. He's played Torrey Pines 6 times. 3 missed cuts, T55, T35, T17. That's his 6 appearances. You look at the South course, going right back to the South course, you play South and North at the Farmers. 73.1 is his average score on the South course. He's broken par 2 times in 12 rounds at this South course. And that's with it set up for the Farmers, not for it set up for what you're going to see coming up, which is going to penalize you even more for missing drives in the fairway. Sure, he won the U.S. Open in 2015. He has that trophy in his cupboard. Also more known for a certain number 1 player 3-putting the 18th green than Spieth winning the title. What has Spieth done since at the National Championships? T27, T35 cut, T65 cut. No top 25 finishes since he stole it from DJ in 2015. The U.S. Open historically is on tight courses. He's 120th off the tee, which accounts for accuracy and driving distance. And this number is going to blow everybody away. His accuracy ranks 184th on tour.
Cool.
Most people can't name 184 golfers. And Jordan Spieth's accuracy off the tee, which you can get away with at other courses that he's won at in Texas, you cannot do that at Torrey Pines and expect to win the U.S. Open. What 184th in accuracy does is it puts you 106 in greens in regulation. I'm not taking anybody that's 106 in greens in regulation to win the U.S. Open, so I'm going to take him to miss the cut at between $2.50 and $3. And it's going to come as a surprise. He's playing well overall, but you also saw him give up the lead a few weeks ago to Jason Cockrat because he couldn't find the fairway on Sunday after playing as good as anybody Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, couldn't find the fairway. Cockrat came from behind and won. I don't expect Jordan to be around this weekend. Can he win it? Of course he can win it. Jordan's one of the best golfers in the world. That's why he has as many major wins as he has. It's going to be a tough one, and I don't expect to see him around on the weekend.
Oh, I'm going to tell you on that one. I'm a guy that's always the glass is more than half full, but there comes a time where making a bet like this to see somebody fail and benefit from it is warranted. No question. So
if you lose that bet, it's because Jordan played well, and good kudos to him. I'm never going to be mad at a guy playing well.
Right.
I just don't think the way he's driving the ball, and maybe he does put 3 rounds together like he did a few weeks ago at the Byron Nelson, and gets out to there and makes the cut and contends. This course penalizes you just as much as any course on tour for missing the fairway, and that's something Jordan does often. It's the reason why he's 180th in accuracy.
Yeah, there's only 157 golfers in the event, I believe, so that puts it in perspective.
Yeah, and
big time.
If he doesn't improve those numbers, I just don't see any way, because missing the fairway and getting into the rough at Torrey Pines usually equals bogeys. And obviously, you're not going to win a U.S. Open with a lot of those. So he's going to have to improve and be in the upper half of fairways hit for him to contend this week.
Yeah, that rough is, for guys watching that, guys that play like you and I, that's a stroke penalty. And then some, maybe.
Yep.
So you mentioned Jason Kokrak, who's really turned on the Jets, so to speak, here. And he's only 7,600. And actually, that guy, Phil Mickelson, the elder statesman, is 7,700. And they're in that range that is always a challenge for me with the DFS, between 7,000 and 8,000. How do you round out with who you're going to put in those lineups? That is so critical. But I do know, before we came on the air, you like Jason quite a bit here in this situation. And he's cheap.
He's cheap. He's 7,600 on DraftKings. He's 60 to 1. I actually found him at 75 to 1 in some books. And I'm also going to play him on a little, dart throw at 66 to 1 to be the first round leader, because he has done much better early than late in some of these big events. And I was actually quite surprised to see him at 60 to 1. I was doing a snake draft yesterday while I was prepping, and it was my pick in the 3rd round, and I was scrolling and looking for Kokrak, and I was surprised to see him in the 60 to 70 to 1 range. Here's a guy who won 2 weeks ago at the Colonial, which is just as tight and just as tough as this course. The tough courses this year: T9 at Concession, T8 at the Arnold Palmer, and T9 at Sawgrass. Tough courses. You got to get the ball out there, got to get it straight. Nothing's going to blow you away with Kokrak's game, but he's going to be able to hang with you. 22nd in driving distance. Not tops like Bryson, but not the bottom of the barrel either, like Colin Maurer-Carwa, who is in the 100 range in terms of driving distance. 25th in greens and regulation, not number one like Xander Schauffele, but not 89th or 105th like Jordan Spieth. 12th in total shots gained, 5th in putting. So Kokrat has done what he needs to do to basically give you good value at 60 to 1. He's hung around at some of these majors until Sunday, where both, unfortunately, at the PGA and the Masters, he threw up 77s to make him end where he was in the 30 and 40 range. I do like him to play well early. I'm going to throw a stab out there at first round leader. You know, it's throwing darts, 66 to 1. You know, there's 156 guys in the field. Maybe you get lucky, maybe you don't. I've only hit this one time in all the times I've played it, and that was Corey Connors, my boy, getting me a nice 125 to 1 payout or late last year. So I like Kokrak. I think that I'm going to play him in daily fantasy, and I'm also going to play him in this event. He's played on tough courses, and I think you're getting a steal at 60 to 1, where I actually rate him right around the 40 to 45 range in that lower second, early third tier, but he's being priced in third and fourth tiers instead.
Yeah, I like that pick quite a bit, David. And then also we talked about Tony Finau and Rory McIlroy being a solid top 10 bet for both of them.
Yeah, those are guys who just continuously do that and have had problems finishing the deal. I mean, Tony Finau hasn't won since, you and I were, I was going to say diapers, but that would be, going too far. It's been since 2016. But since his last win, Tony Finau, since his only win, Tony Finau has 39 top 10s, which is third most on tour. That includes 5 top 10s in his last 6 majors, which is 2 more than any other player. Think about that for a minute. He has more top 10s in the last 6 majors than anybody else, 5 out of 6. So why wouldn't you want to play him at a top 10 that you're getting 2.5 to 1 on your money? Because playing him to win seems like a fool's errand until he actually wins something. Sure, you're going to want to be on him when he wins, but he hasn't proven he can do that. But if he does win, you're winning the top 10 bet anyway. The guy not only is a top 10 machine, but he's also 6th in tee to green, 13th in total, 12th on approach, and 7th around the green. Oh, by the way, he was T2 with Xander Schauffele back in January as well at this course. T6 last year, T4 in 2017. Said nothing worse than T24 at this course. We talked about Rahm being so well at the South course at 23 under par, best in the field. This guy, Tony Finau, top 10 Tony, is 21 under par. So I expect Finau to contend like he has been. I just can't consciously know that my money, my pizza money, as you call it, is on him to win when he hasn't won in 5 years. So I'm going to play him top 10s and 20s. Hopefully he wins and we get cash on that anyway, and you tip your cap and say, now I can play him. And you look at Rory. Rory is an enigma this year. Like, you can literally throw 5 great stats here and 5 terrible stats here. He's consistently inconsistent. He hasn't won a major since 2014, which blew my mind when I saw that. But of the 24 majors he's played since then, what would you know? 12 top 10s, 12 not top 10s. That's Rory in a nutshell right now. He either plays really good or he plays really bad. 6 straight top 25s to start this season, including top 10s at last year, counts for this year, U.S. Open and Masters. 1 at Wells Fargo, but he badly missed the cut at the Players, this year's Masters, and T49 at PGA, which was significantly disappointing because he had won 2 weeks earlier at Wells Fargo. As far as Torrey Pines, 3 attempts, T16, T3, T5. Another guy who plays well here. Rory McIlroy has the game to win at this course this weekend, and I firmly believe he has a legit shot. I just have a hard time playing him because of his inconsistencies, especially how bad he played at the PGA. So what do? You go the prop route. Top 10 at 2 to 1, top 20 around just a little bit minus money. See what happens. I'd love to see him win another one. I just think we got to start small with the top 10.
Question for you, David, with McIlroy. I was thinking of the following strategy of watching the first round. And to your point, he usually when he plays bad, it's usually right away. Right. There's several majors where he, quadruple bogeyed one of the holes right out of the gate. But do you think watching the first round and then if he shoots even or better, that then you pop on him to win?
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy because at even or better, depending on what the rest of the field does, you might get a good price on him. If you really want a good price, take him at 20 to 1 right now, 22 to 1, depending on where he is. You just don't know what you're going to get. Rory's the type of guy where you could say, man, look at the numbers, look at the math. This guy's going to win this event, and then your money is gone before he hits the back 9 on Thursday. So I think maybe watching and see what he does on Thursday, which may inadvertently cost you a price. Maybe he plays well and all of a sudden he's 10-1 and not 20-1. That's the price you pay for maybe a soft hedge on not taking him on Thursday. I'm going to play it as a prop instead of to win, but if he does play well, I might hop on that. And, Rory's a perfect guy to play live. He's a guy that you really want to see what he's doing, and I think Jordan Spieth is one of those guys as well. If Jordan's hitting fairways, he's nobody better. But if he's not hitting fairways, you want nothing to do with him. So playing a guy like Rory live or, waiting to see how he does, I think is a strong strategy.
And then you have two top 20 bets here with the Aussie Adam Scott, who truly is flying under the radar. I don't remember the last time his name's even been mentioned. Yeah, and then, of course, Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, let's not hide the facts here. Adam Scott hasn't had a good year. His metrics aren't going to show well because he hasn't had a good year. He was more delayed than others in terms of coming back from COVID. He didn't play much last year after COVID due to being in Australia. His best finish this year was a T10 at Torrey Pines, Farmers Insurance Classic. So here's a guy who, when he does play well, it happens to be at this course. He has 3 top 10s in his career at U.S. Opens, and he kind of hangs around. He actually is one of the few guys who played this event back in 2008, getting a 226. And when he's played at Torrey Pines, I mentioned the T10 this year, he also had a second place finish a couple of years ago. So I don't have much confidence in him doing anything better than a top 20. When you're talking about a major winner getting close to $3 for him to finish in the top 20, which he has done before, it's a prop for a reason. I don't expect him to win. He's not someone I would probably put in my DFS lineup unless you really need someone to make the cut. But he is someone that I think can get you some change at 3-1. And if you find the right matchup, I haven't looked to see who he's paired up against. If you find the right matchup, it might be worth kind of taking a stab at because Adam Scott can absolutely go out there and finish in the top 10. He just hasn't been consistent. And on the other side of things, looking at Charlie Hoffman, I mean, wouldn't it be awesome? Guy's from San Diego, 44 years old, hasn't had much success at majors for him to go ahead and win on his hometown course. The guy's played this 22 times, more than anybody else in the field. So I'm kind of playing on a little bit of experience. It's not like he's had the greatest results here, but he knows the course. He T9 2 years ago. He's had decent results at his 7 U.S. Opens, making the cut 6 times. You're not going to get blown away by his results. He's Charlie Hoffman. He's not Tiger Woods. But here's a guy who's 6th on approach, 17th in tee to green, as well as 18th total shots gained. He has decent metrics, knows the course as well as anybody. It's home. I'm taking a stab at 3-1 at top 20. I'm not playing him to win. I just drafted him moments ago in the 4th round of a snake draft, so I have him there. I'll probably play him in a few other spots. Again, we're looking at top 20s and whatnot. We're not looking at wins. And I think anytime you can find a guy who knows the course and has good metrics and has been decent, before the Masters 3rd round 80 at the Memorial, he had recorded 6 consecutive top 20 finishes. That's what we're asking him to do right now to get us 3-1. 6 straight top 20s before one bad round at the Memorial. So that's 6 out of 7. I'm playing the numbers. 3-1 is a good finish. Hope we get that somewhere and play on that. And that's, John, as you and I discussed, that's where you make a lot of your money in these events. He's in the top 10s and 20s.
Yep. Yeah, it's just too hard to. I mean, only one guy wins, and and it sounds stupid to say, but you can win 20 times if you play a top 20 play.
I gave out 6 of 10 top 10s one day on this show. It was probably the single great week I ever had, and I think it was the RBC where I had 6 top 10s out of 10. So I'll take it.
It was. So it wouldn't be fair to not to end this show and not talk about another hometown hero in Phil Mickelson. And I know we all in our hearts want him to pull this off and put the memories of Winged Foot U.S. Open disaster way in the history books. But it's just too tall a task for him to pull it off again, don't you think?
I do, and if you thought we were off the charts with having him win at 50 years old at the PGA, if he does it again in San Diego at the U.S. Open, which has eluded him his entire career, you talk about a storybook. This would be, give me the movie rights right now.
Right.
I didn't see it happening at the PGA, and I don't see it happening here for the exact same reasons. Add on to the fact that he's still living on cloud 9. Anybody who follows him on Twitter sees it might even be cloud 10 or 11. He's enjoying it. I hope he comes out here and plays well. I thought his line after Thursday, the week after, when he played bad and they asked him about it, he said, I'm still the PGA champion. It's a great story. I don't see it happening. It's hard for a 25-year-old to go out there and win this event, more or less a 50-year-old. Would be good. I know his birthday's coming up where he'll be 51. There's nothing in his game that makes me think he's going to do this, but I said that last time and I was wrong. I'm not playing him anywhere. I didn't play him last time. I can admit when I was off. There are very few people that can say that they had Phil Mickelson other than, oh, it's Phil Mickelson, I'll go take him. Every single person on Twitter or Instagram who showed me a ticket for Phil Mickelson, every single one of them, I tipped my cap and then I asked them why. And the only sound response I got from anybody was he needed to win to qualify for the U.S. Open on the non-special exemption. He didn't want the special exemption, so I was playing him to win. Good. I like that. Nothing else was going to matter. And some of the other people, Phil's a public play. You're going to see a story that our great David Purdum's going to produce tomorrow. There's a lot of liability on Phil Mickelson. The books are loving it. Everybody and their mother is betting Phil Mickelson. There's more bets on Phil Mickelson than any other player in the field, which is astounding because Phil Mickelson's, quote me on it, he's not going to win. So the books are loving this. That being said, everybody loves betting the New York Yankees, New England Patriots, LA Lakers, Tiger, Phil. They always get inundated. Phil kind of dropped off the radar, and then boom, shakalaka, he wins the PGA. It's one of those situations where, like we discussed before, my dad was in town for the first time since COVID, and I sat there on the couch and watched 50-year-old Phil Mickelson win the PGA, and it's one of the few times in life that you're okay being wrong. I didn't have Phil, and it was a great story.
No question.
If it happens again, just give him the Oscar and let's go. I mean, it's over.
It would be an incredible movie, just as it is right now, even without winning the U.S. It would be an incredible movie of his life. But as you know, I played Mickelson, but I played him Sunday morning at 3-1, not at 150-1. And it was all predicated on the sentiment of the world. Even though they loved him, they were betting Brooks at just an incredible rate. And I thought, wow, I'm getting a shot in my hand and 3-1. Why not? And my heart was with him.
And I think I played Brooks late on Friday or late on Saturday. I think it was Friday, just because he had bogeyed a hole and his odds jacked back up to about 18-1. So I threw some coin on him. And then, to be honest, I didn't play anything on Sunday because I just let it go because I didn't want to bet against Phil. I already had Koepka money at 18-1. I wasn't going to beat that. Betting against Phil again wasn't going to do me any favors, and I just also couldn't see him winning. So I didn't take the 3-1. The value was there because nobody thought he was going to win. And then I just watched it. It was a rare opportunity to just be a fan and enjoy the moment and be like, you know what? I didn't have the greatest PGA in terms of handicapping. I'm not sure many people did when it came to Phil Mickelson winning. I still won money on DraftKings without having Phil because nobody else had Phil. So put it that way.
That's right. And my bet was with pizza money because I already knew I was going to have steaks that night on the grill, so I was safe if I lost.
Good.
But let's recap your picks here, David. Before we let you go, I have the ones that you really like are Patrick Reed, Xander Schauffele, then in the Rahm, of course, Spieth to miss the cut, which probably is my second favorite one. We have Jason Kokrak. He's $7,600 on DraftKings, by the way. 66-1 to lead after the first round, and I believe you said 60-1 to win.
Yep. Yeah, I have Rahm at 10-1 and top 10. I have Xander at 20-1 with some top 5s and 10s as a hedge. We talked about Patrick Reed at 25-1, top 10s and 20s. Kokrat at 60-1 and first round leader. Finau and McIlroy at top 10s and 20s, and Adam Scott and Charlie Hoffman outside the make top 20s, and Jordan Spieth to miss the cut. I was actually typing up one of the matchups. I just started looking at the matchups today, so I'll throw one of them out there, which isn't going to surprise you. But if you want to write it down, Colin Morikawa -105 against Jordan Spieth, who's favored at -118. I already told you what I think about Jordan Spieth this event, and Morikawa is someone that I actually considered taking at 22-1. He's first on tour and approach tee to green and hitting greens, and Spieth is not. Really, the only thing stopping me from picking Morikawa is he's extremely short off the tee in about the 110 range, which is not going to do you any good at Torrey Pines, long course. And he's a mess on the putting greens. And it's hard to justify taking someone that lowly rated off the tee and on the greens. But I am going to play him over Jordan Spieth, and I'm going to have more matchups that I'll release later. It'll be in the column tomorrow morning on ESPN Chalk. I just kind of ran out of time, had a a bad computer issue last night that set me back a few hours. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be obviously a tremendous, highly competitive event, and probably, my gut feeling is telling me there'll be 3 guys at the end of the day on Sunday that are at even or under. And
I hope those 3 guys are Patrick Reed, Jason Kokrak, and Xander Schauffele, and then I'll be buying dinner for everybody.
That would be nice. That would be sweet. Imagine if you could do that as a trifecta.
You can. There are some bets out there where you can bet them 1, 2, 3. There's really, I would say that those are fool's gold type bets. That's like betting the hard 8 and hard 10 at the craps table, but people do it. So I will tell you, I have someone that I know. It was because of Rom, but I had someone who played the straight forecast of Cantley and who finished second, Morikawa.
Yep.
Straight forecast of Cantley and Morikawa at 190 to 1. I have a friend who hit that. Obviously, because John Rahm withdrew, but
wow,
all bets cash. So.
That's for sure. That's a unique difference with golf too. John Rahm arguably would have won that pretty easily, I think, and that was 1.6 million, kind of up in smoke. And no other sport really is like that. An NFL player gets hurt, he's still under contract, he still gets paid. Golfer gets hurt or tests positive for COVID. Sorry.
Drive for show, putt for dough, and withdrawal for 0.
So. Never heard it put that way, but that's good.
I just made it up off the top of my head.
That's good. We'll have to trademark that one for sure. But before I let you go, tell everyone what else is going on over ESPN, news stuff, whatever you want to say.
We do nightly and daily columns now for NBA. You'll see every single day throughout the entire NBA playoffs. You can get our betting column every morning. It's usually posted by about 7 a.m. Eastern at ESPN.com Chalk. We have an NHL column out there. Paul Carr's soccer column is out there, updated today with stage 2 games that begin tomorrow. And our golf column with Anita Marks, Chris Felica, Doug Kazarian, and myself will be out tomorrow morning right about the time I wake up. Which
it's awesome.
Early side, thanks to having a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. So.
Yeah, I'm a little bit ahead of you on that train, so to speak. But I know what it's like to get up early. It's just fun every single day talking about sports, and especially with guys like you. So thanks for being on again, David. Really appreciate the time. And on behalf of Sportsmemo.com, WagerTalk.com, let's all have a highly profitable day and weekend with the PGA Tour bets. But remember, bet with your head, not over it, and be smart with it. Have fun. So we'll look forward to talking to you soon, and may all the wins be yours.